power. That is lesson number 2. Power. So we want to have power when we sing. What do we mean by power? Power is like this. I don't know how well my laptop microphone is picking it up, but I hope you can hear the difference between a moderate volume and a large volume. And my face probably didn't seem like I was like trying very hard to get that loud volume out, which is because the help of the diaphragm. The diaphragm is, as you can see again, large, a very large muscle. So when you properly train it, it's very, very strong for you to push the air out, and that's the airflow support we want as singers. And also, when you have a strong diaphragm, you'll be able to do sounds like ha! These kind of very abrupt, very sudden muscle flex that's like a bullet. You know how like muscle guys, they're able to like bounce their pecs by flexing, right? You can do that with your diaphragm too. What I did just now is an example of that. And another example of that is laughing, actually. But not everybody laughs with their diaphragm. But people who do, their diaphragm basically does that. But it's an uncontrollable, reflexive action. But what we want to achieve is training it so hard, well, not that hard, training it very well so that you're able to control that kind of fast, precise, and abrupt flexing. So how do we train that? The very first step is abdominal breathing. Like I said, you want to lower, you want to be able to lower your diaphragm a lot, and then it has space to push upward, right? Ha! Like this. And how do we get there? After you have sufficient, you don't have to be like a master at abdominal breathing to be starting doing this. You can do this anytime, as long as you know how to, as long as you're able to breathe out, basically. But most importantly, if you're able to do this thing, you're probably more ready to do it in comparison to if you can't do it. Alright. So there's this one way to like feel how, like actually help your brain register that, ooh, my diaphragm is actually flexing. There's a way to do that, which is this. Okay, let me adjust this. Alright, so here's my rib cage. It's roughly in this area, right? And use both of your hands, touch the how do you say that? The border or the rim of your rib cage, and then along the rib cage you go up, right? Along the shape of your rib cage, and at some point your two hands are going to intersect. This area is this. Can you see the cursor on? I think you can, right? Can you see the cursor? I'm not sure, but it's basically in the picture the area that is not blocked off by the rib cage. You're actually able to push down into this area with your fingers. So do it gently, as long as it's inward. and then use for example, the pronunciation of F. Just breathe the air out. You're going to feel your diaphragm is pushing out. So why is your finger pushed out? Because again, when a muscle flexes, it becomes hard. When a muscle relaxes, it becomes soft. When you're able to push it inward, it's because it's relatively relaxed. And when you have to push air out within very tiny space, like the sound F, or not a tiny space, with a very tiny like a air exit, because when you do the F sound, the airway is blocked by your teeth and your lip, right? Blocked by the teeth. You have to push the air out from between your teeth. So your airflow has to be much stronger than when you're just normally breathing. So it has to flex, really flex, to just right? So that's how you feel with your fingers that the diaphragm is actually working. Well, like exerting power with your diaphragm. That's the sensation you want to feel. And like I said about muscle bouncing, when you're able to bounce your diaphragm, you can do this. I'm not breathing in between each F. I'm taking one breath, and then I give out many Fs, many fucks, and then I inhale again. So it's like this: inhale, and then I let the rest of the air out. So when the diaphragm is very strong, you will be able to output air in a very fast pace without feeling tired. Okay, let me see if I missed anything I need to say. Right. So there are, other than the F sound, there are many other ways you can try to train your diaphragm. So the general rule is that you want to limit the exit of your airflow. For example, when you say the sound F, you're limiting the airflow with your teeth and your lip. You can also use S. It is also limiting your airflow. But I don't like the S sound because at least for me, you have to use your facial muscles, and it's like my face gets sore. So I don't like that. I usually use F or SH. It also works. But these pronunciations, they have different level of limiting the airflow. So you can experiment with them. You can switch between them as much as you like. And another method you can use is by using a straw, which I don't have one right now, but you just put the straw in your mouth and then blow into it. And the straw is very limiting as well. And actually, as far as I know, there is currently this product that's called singing straw or something. It's extra small, extra thin for people to just train with it. I'm not sure how good that is. I've never tried one. But if it's like specifically designed, maybe it's very good. I'm not sure. But if you have a straw, try it. A normal straw, not a boba straw. Okay, and now that we have the way to limit our airflow, what next? So again, the diaphragm is a muscle, so we want to what do we do when we want to train a muscle to be very strong? We have to do lifting with it, do weightlifting, right? And the way to do weightlifting with your diaphragm is by limiting the airway more and more. In other words, you need to be using your diaphragm to output the airflow harder and harder to make it stronger and stronger. And for example, if you do have the singing straws, you would need to start from like a medium straw, and then to a small straw, and then to its even smaller straw, I guess. But what happens if like me, normal people wouldn't have those? One thing you can do is just to prolong your exercise. And what are the exercises? For example, you can breathe out, you can exhale one long breath like this. Until you're almost out of breath. You don't want to become uncomfortable. Just breathe in when you want to, okay? So a long breath is helpful for training your muscles, right? Because it's outputting power at a steady state. And another thing you can do is rapid, fast, and short breaths like this. Depending on how fast or how slow you need to go, just do it. Also, you can combine these fast and slow ones, these long and short ones, however you like.